Radiation is stressful enough. I'm trying to find a place that's going to be low stress, that's not going to make things worse for Kat while she goes through radiation. I mean, it shouldn't be this hard. Captain and I are in Phoenix. And I know it doesn't look like Phoenix like you're used to seeing Phoenix, you know, all urban and everything, but that's because we're scouting all the campable places, you know, interesting places kind of on the outskirts of the city, because Kat is coming down here to Phoenix to finish her radiation. So I'm looking for a place for us all to camp, Kat, Pam, and whoever else shows up. At first I thought that we would stay at this state trust land that I found that's over off the 17 freeway. I checked it out yesterday, and there's a lot of people camp there. It's definitely campable, and it's fine. I mean, it's not spectacular, but it's fine, and there's plenty of space. But there's all these no trespassing signs. And then if you look closer, you see that it says no trespassing permit required. You need a state trust land permit to camp there, but that's easy. So as long as you have a permit, you can camp there. Two things I personally really liked about that area: wild donkeys and hot air balloons. The problem is that I drove to Kat's radiation office, and it's not that close. It took me over an hour to get there, and you know, Kat is really not well, so that's 2 hours round trip, and she doesn't travel really easy at this point, so not sure that's gonna work. So I'm checking this area out over towards, I guess it's the Superstition Mountains. I'm checking over here today because I have to find a closer spot. And I can't rely on what Google tells me is close because it's usually wrong. So I have to drive it. Kat's not doing great. She's very, very thin. And the other day she passed out at chemo. And I haven't been making a lot of videos, and definitely not the kind of videos that I normally make, because I'm usually really, really honest with you guys. But I haven't talked about what's been going on and how I've been feeling about it, because I know that Kat sometimes watches my videos, and I haven't wanted to show her anything but positive, 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 you know? And I feel positive. I mean, the thing is, I feel very sure that she's gonna get through this, but it's scary sometimes, you know? And I mean, I can only say that now because I know she's not watching much of anything these days. Because when she's not in treatment, she's really just sleeping. And I know in my heart that she's going to get through this. But I have my moments, you know, and when I have to pretend that everything is great all the time, I just don't do well with that. I need to let it out sometimes. So, okay, it's out. Bye-bye. Wow, this is really beautiful here.
Well, it don't come with a master plan, a grand design for how to make it pan out the way you want it to. Well, son, that's left up to you. It's a race of undetermined length that'll test your mind and test your strength. Leave you feeling all alone, but always find a way to bring you home.
This is Lost Dutchman State Park. It's paid camping, and we're willing to do paid camping, but the ranger told me that it's super full. She also told me, and I read about this too, that a lot of the land around here, both the National Forest and the BLM, that used to be available for camping has been changed to day use only. See, like, this is a great spot. It's day use only. You can tell that there used to be camping here because there's like trails that go down, but yeah, everything's day use only. I went to the Tonto Forest Ranger Station, and I got a pass to camp here in Bulldog Canyon. And it's kind of cool because when they give you the pass, they give you these gate codes. So when you have the permit, which is only $20 for 6 months, you can just open these gates and go inside. So you feel kind of cool doing that. But the problem is that pretty much all of the Bulldog Canyon spots, you can't camp within a mile of the road anymore. So there's all these spots that would be great camping spots, but they're cordoned off, and they have no camping signs, and you have to go further in. And of course, the further in you go, the road just gets crazier. Like here, the road is really pitched, and I felt like the bus was actually going to tip over, which I'm not doing that again. Plus, when you have to go that far in, it adds like 15 or 20 minutes to the drive right there. And if I were just camping, you know, I would have no problem. If I didn't have to go out and go to appointments and stuff, I would definitely stay here. But with 2 buses, both of which I have to drive because Kat can't drive right now, and then Pam's pulling a trailer, I really don't think a road like that would work. I figured there must be some state trust land that's closer than the balloons and donkeys area to where we need to be for these appointments. And they have this interactive map online, but it's really hard to figure out. I've been driving around to all sorts of areas that are marked as state trust land on the map, but then I get there and it's a shopping mall, or it's a cemetery, or it's a housing development. So tomorrow I'm going to go to the state land office. I just went to the state land office, and that was a surreal experience. First you go in and there's a guard and a metal detector. It's like you're going into court or something. You know, the building is the State Department of Natural Resources, so I don't really know what that's about. But anyway, then they direct you to this office. And in the office, there were these two guys literally with their feet up on the desks and their hands behind their heads like this, like just totally lounging like they had nothing to do. And they told me to ring a bell on the counter, so I did. And this woman comes out and she has me go out of that office and down this winding hall. And then she meets me in the hall and escorts me into another office. And that's where you get the state trust permit. It's like going into the bowels of the FBI. I asked the woman for a map of where to camp, and she says, well, we have 8 million acres of land. How do I know where you can camp? But, I mean, it's the state land office. If they don't know, how am I supposed to know? I mean, I've been driving around for days, like almost a week. Am I supposed to drive all 8 million acres? But she tells me that they don't really care about campers and recreational users and stuff like that. Their job is to make money for their beneficiaries, which is like the school system and stuff. And they do that by leasing the land and then eventually selling the land. So if you can find a place to camp, you're welcome to camp, but they're not going to help you with it or anything. So I sat down at the computer and I found this parcel of land that looked good. And I said, okay, can I camp here? And she said, oh, let me go check it out and make sure so that you don't waste your time going there if it's not available. So I'm waiting. She's gone for like 40 minutes. And then finally she comes back and she says, oh, it's a good thing I checked because that land has been sold. And I said, okay, what about this one next to it? And she says, oh, no. All that land in that area has been sold. And anyway, the neighbors who live there really don't like it when people camp there because it's basically right in the middle of Scottsdale. But I don't really care who likes it, you know? I'm just trying to find a place where we can camp so Kat can, you know, radiation is stressful enough. I'm trying to find a place that's going to be low stress, that's not going to make things worse for Kat while she goes through radiation. I mean, it shouldn't be this hard. So now I'm heading back to the wild donkeys and hot air balloons area because it's the only thing I can find, honestly. It's too far, but it's the best I can do. And I have to let it go because it's the best I can do. I just feel like I couldn't stay up there in Flagstaff to take care of Kat, you know, and Captain was in California. I left there with Pam and Kat's blessing. You know, they gave me their blessing to go, but it just puts a lot on Pam, you know, because she's the only one up there taking care of Kat until they come down here to Phoenix to finish the radiation. So my contribution, the only thing that I can contribute is finding a camp that's as trouble-free as possible. And I feel like basically I've totally failed at that. Oh, Brad's calling. Hang on. So I told Brad what happened at the land office, that they said all the Scottsdale land was sold, and I told him that I'm giving up. I told him that I have to accept defeat. But Brad didn't accept it. He drove out there to the area I was talking about, and it's not sold. There's a whole bunch of it that doesn't look sold. There's state trust land signs out there, so I'm going to go out there and meet him. Well, now I'm driving out past these housing developments, you know, the kind of cookie cutter places that you see all over the place in Phoenix, and I can't imagine there's anything out here past here, but okay, there's Brad. This actually looks promising. I think this is it. We drove it, and it turns out that this spot is less than half an hour from Kat's doctor's office. It's not even 2 miles off the freeway. It's right in the middle of everything. It's right in the middle of Scottsdale, like the lady said, but it feels really wild in here. There are these huge saguaro cactuses everywhere, and there's Palo Verdes, and it doesn't feel like I'm in the city at all. There's road all around me, busy road, but I can't really see the road from here, which probably means that the passing cars can't see me either. It's awesome. And this is why you need a team, right? Because I gave up. Brad didn't give up. So it's like when one person is ready to quit, a lot of times somebody else is ready to step up. And now I have a week to spare before the others get here. So I'm going to get to know the area, make sure it's safe, all that. But I really don't think anyone even knows I'm in here unless they happen to have been like behind me and seen me when I turned in, which maybe, I don't know. Next step, we got to get Kat and Pam down here with 2 buses. One step at a time.